We are getting ready to jump in and talk about slapstick marketing. And if you're wondering what that is, come and listen.
Welcome to Life Reimagined with Wendy. I believe we were fortunate to grow up in a unique time in our culture that is helping shape our lives over the age of 45. We are redefining what our lives are like today and pushing the boundaries of what a 45-year-old, a 50-year-old, a 65-year-old, or years young and true adventurer really looks like. Many of us are newly blazing trails and carving out our own purpose-driven path forward. Yep, there have been many unexpected road twists that helped you get here today, but many times these turn out to be blessings. They help you more clearly define what you want. So join me for insights and interviews that show you can face these unexpected challenges, and you can come out on the other side stronger and happier. You can make your best days ahead, and you can reimagine your next.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Behind Her Brand podcast. I am your host, Kimberly DeShields-Spencer, and today we're going to talk about something that I came up with a long time ago, and it's called slapstick marketing. Now, if you saw the title of this, you may have started Googling and trying to figure out what is that, what type of marketing is this, and you probably didn't find too much, because here's the thing, it's a term that I've come up with, it's a term that I use whenever I look at someone's information before I start working with them. When someone reaches out to me and says, hey, I want to work with you on building my marketing or building my branding, I review every entry point to their business. And sometimes, well, let me say sometimes, very often what I find is that there is inconsistency, or that there's just random posts up there. I have a new program. I have a new book. I have a new podcast. I have a new whatever it might be. And then you don't see anything from that person for a few weeks. And here's the thing. I hear often that, Kim, it is so hard to keep pumping up content. It is so hard to post frequently and trying to get the engagement and what have you. So I just post occasionally. Well, here's the problem with that. And this is why I call it slapstick marketing and why it does not work. And I also want to share with you some things to do to curb that if you find yourself in that situation. The problem with that is a couple of things. One, whenever you throw content out there randomly without a real plan, a real strategy, without real basis on how you want to engage your audience, it communicates that to them. When they see a post that says, let's just use this as a good example. If you post to say July 1st, and then they don't hear from you again until August 15th, and you're just randomly slapping up information inconsistently, well, it shows them that not that they know your schedule, that you may be busy working with amazing clients, doing incredible things, but what it communicates is that you don't care about how you're communicating. When you're inconsistent, when it's not ongoing information, it can communicate that you don't really care about what people are seeing about your information. And you don't want to communicate that. You know, there's a very old acronym that's actually, people call it KLT factor, but it's actually more of a six letter module, but I'll just focus on the KLT part of it for now. But the KLT is like know, like, and trust. Whenever you're posting information, whether it's a blog, a podcast, Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other social media mediums, as you're posting information, people are getting to know you. They're getting to understand your voice. They're getting to understand what really and truly is passionate about your company. What is it that you really want people to engage in? What solutions you're offering? They're getting to know you. So if you're randomly putting something out there and it's not consistent, it feels kind of random when you're putting it out there, they're not going to get to know you. And when you get to know someone, typically you either like them or you don't like them. You either feel drawn in or you don't feel drawn in. It's going to go either way. But the key is that when you're putting stuff out there, you give them the opportunity to get to know you and to like you, or to engage with you. And then from there, when you're consistently putting stuff out there, they grow to trust you. Okay. So that's why whenever I say or use the term slapstick marketing and I share how ineffective it is, what it does, it takes away the ability for someone to really get to know your company, your solutions, to really get to understand even how you approach different things that they may be looking for answers to. And it takes away that trust. And I'm sure you've heard it before. I know that I've said it often, that people will not work with you, buy from you, engage with you if they don't feel that they can trust you. Trust is fundamental when it comes to whether you're building your career and you're trying to get that next promotion or whether you're building your business. People want to trust you. They want to trust that you are very passionate about the things that you are focused on. They want to trust that you care about them, meaning the audience that you're trying to serve. They want to know that they can trust that you're someone that's not regurgitating old information, that you're constantly growing yourself and you're offering real fresh intakes on solutions and things that they're looking for. They want to trust that. They want to know that they're going to spend their time on your page or your blog or your podcast, that they're going to get value. Trust has to be formed. So if you find yourself in that situation where you feel like you're just kind of randomly putting stuff out there and you never considered maybe how that may be presented to your customers or to your clients, let me offer you a couple of things to do to curb that. We all heard of batching, right? Batching is where you spend a lot of time and you work on content. But here's what I want you to do though. Batching is amazing. It's something I do faithfully, but the best form of batching comes when you've really planned out what your marketing needs to look at. And when you break down your marketing, we'll go through this in another podcast, but when you break down your marketing, think about the season that your clients or your customers are in and create the marketing based off of that. So for example, if you're getting ready to gear up for the holiday season and you're in a market where your audience gets a lot of anxiety, stress, or whatever it might be, then maybe all your marketing might be focusing on how to alleviate that, how to curb it, how to be proactive so you don't get into this particular spin or whatever it might be. And then from there, once you know what the focus is for your clientele, then make a list or however you choose to do it, sticky note it, whatever best fits for you, and create your batching based off of that. You might batch several different podcasts that are going to run out every single week based off of the needs for that particular marketing season. You might create blogs that fit that. You might create really cool quotes or graphics based off of that. The key is batching typically works when you are really in tune with your audience and you're creating content that can roll out consistently. Okay, this is where you can autopilot it, but make sure the information doesn't just feel random. It feels very much I would say the word, it feels very in tune with your audience in that moment, in that time. That's what makes that work. Okay. So the first thing is really understanding your marketing cycle. Know if it's for the fall, what are they typically dealing with? If it's for the spring, what do they typically focus on? Summer, where is their drive coming from? Look at your audience and determine that. Next, when you're batching, make sure that it's very focused. That's very key. Third, always keep checking in and making sure your audience is on the mediums that you're using to market. Make sure your audience is there. Okay. Because audiences change. They change their interests. Sometimes they may be really on Facebook. They may be on LinkedIn. And how will you know that? You'll know that by the engagement. You'll know that by talking to them. You'll know that by how in tune you are to your audiences. That's why I always say it's very important to make sure when you're posting, when you're sharing, when you're creating, that you're also asking periodically, like, hey, what are some of the needs that you need met right now? What are some solutions that you would love to see out there pertaining to what it is that you are doing or what your challenge is or whatever it might be? So that's very key. You want to plan purposefully. You want to batch with real intention. And obviously the third thing, you want to make sure above anything that you are in tune with your audience needs are. Okay. Because you want to make sure that you're creating what they need. And more importantly, you want to make sure that you're putting the information where they are actually going. There are some audiences that used to love Facebook, but now they go to LinkedIn. There's some people that used to love LinkedIn. Now they go to Pinterest. There's some groups that absolutely love Instagram, or they might like different, maybe LinkedIn and Instagram or multiple areas. But you have to know that because you don't want to waste your time putting information on mediums that people are not seeing you on. I know there's a lot of advice out there that says put it everywhere and just let them kind of find you. I'm a little different, and I'll tell you why. I don't believe in that. I believe that I want to put information where my audience is so that for me, I'm not randomly putting things out there. I want to be very intentional. I want to make sure that I'm where my audience is, and that way I can really focus on the mediums that best serve them. Okay? Because you don't want to have that slapstick marketing. You don't want people to think that you don't care. You don't want them to think that you're inconsistent. So take that time, create a podcast day if you do podcasts. Create a blogging day. Maybe you sit there and say, you know what? Here are the topics that I'm seeing trending. Here are some of the things that I'm hearing about. So let me write a little bit about those. If you don't like to write, do a video blog. Literally create a video with the content that you want to share and post that. If you're more of inspirational quotes and things of that nature and you love to write different sentiments to that to fit, do that. But segment your days. Never be too busy to where you can't segment your days to where you can do that. Once you plan, you batch intentionally, make sure that you are focusing on the right mediums where your audience is. And then from there, autopilot it out. Create, post, schedule it. So that way consistently information is going out there. And all you need to do when it's going out there, when people are engaging, engage back. Okay. That's my 3 main areas that I would say that I would advise to avoid that slapstick marketing, which is inconsistent, ineffective, and it does not generate the results that you're looking for. So I would love to hear your feedback. You guys know I absolutely love your feedback. I would also love if these tips work for you, share that with us. Please let us know. Because again, you guys know I say it so often. You know that I want this podcast to be something that's helpful and useful to you and to where you're striving to go. So thank you again for listening to another Behind Her Brand podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly DeShields-Spencer, and you can learn so much more about us. We are growing and expanding and building and loving every piece of it. You can find more information at www.behindherbrand.net.